Hello. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me, see me, all that good stuff? I'm primping the space now. The space needs styling. How do we like our setup? I feel good about it. Hi, everyone. Check the hair. Check the makeup. Hattie, you want to come in? She's coming. Hi, everyone. Hattie, come on up. Why don't you come up? I think everyone would like to see you. Come join us. She's not going to listen. Hi, everyone. How are we doing? We ready for today's live preen? Oh, my hair. So hello. You like my pink couch? Thank you. So this was a birthday gift to myself last year, this pink sectional. And it's from Joybird. And I really can't recommend them enough if you're considering Joybird, but feel like, I know a lot of people say it's weird to order, I'm gonna look at the camera, weird to order a couch online. And I just really felt like it was a good choice. Hi, everyone. Hattie, will you please come join us? Hi, Melisha. Melisha's here. So how are we all doing? South Florida is here. Finally, the live preen. I know. What a day. I almost forgot. So yeah, I kind of had to get myself together really last minute today. So I washed my hair last night, and it's like a little limp after I first wash it. So I just did like a little updo kind of thing with twists. This is more like a milkmaid thing that I did yesterday because it starts like down here and does more like a crown rather than like a vertical height kind of thing. So hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. So Hattie, please, you've been requested. Hattie, come. She's not going to come. Henry is over here right now. He's being very cute. He's been sitting on these lavender cushions the last few days, but I propped them up, like not really thinking about it last night because the one had been on its side and that's been his little spot. And so he's very dejected. Now he's over on the pink fluffy blanket, which is actually kind of Hattie's, but so we'll see how that plays out. All right, should start going live to force myself to get dressed. Yeah, this is the only time I put on real clothes, everyone. So don't feel bad if you're just hanging out in your sweatpants, because that is what I have been doing all day today too. Did I make the lavender pillows or did I buy them? Oh, I so bought them because I'd rather make a dress. I don't know about you guys, but I know there are a lot of Christine McConnell fans in here, and she recently did a video on YouTube on how to make like this exact style of pillow. So if you do want to make your own, check that out. She was really, I think she chose like a pretty thick velvet, and it's like a lot of handwork to do the smocking on the sides. But it was cool watching it come together because it just kind of naturally pleats into the center, and then you have to do this tufted thing. Her fingers were like so messed up from doing all that hand stitching, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm glad they're only $20 online." Yeah, so I bought those. And these, I got to give another shout out to Vinny Boy Vintage for sending me these cute little kitschy pillows for the couch too. Some things you just don't sew. I got to agree with you. Okay, everyone, you're in your moo-moo. You're gonna stick to dresses, Lisa. Yeah, the pillows it's a whole thing. Okay, all right. So I have an agenda for today. It involves talking about dresses. Are you shocked? And sewing dresses and designing dresses. Okay. Oh, but first I wanted to give you a little update on, we've been talking about possibly doing a watch party together, and I wanted to let you know that I did make some progress into figuring out. I gotta turn my gotta turn my phone off because that's gonna be distracting. I did make some progress into figuring out a platform for that, but I don't have anything to share quite yet. But if you have ideas, I do have a lead on something that I think might work, but I'm waiting to have some questions answered. If you have ideas, so the fantasy for the live joint viewing party would be to have sort of a split screen kind of thing. So I could be on live webcam like I am now, and then it would be split between me, so me, small picture, and then whatever we're watching would be the larger picture. So we could be watching things together, like Jenny suggested if you're not interested in dresses. Jenny, you had suggested watching the Dita house tour together as like a simple way we could start, because that's like a 12-minute video on YouTube. There are also Netflix parties and stuff like that, but specifically what I'm looking for is something where I can be on live webcam and you guys can be on chat. So we're pretty much doing this, but we have another screen showing us a video. So I haven't found exactly what we need yet for that, but I have been in touch with someone who might be able to make it happen for us. So if you have any other leads, let me know. Okay. So that's all to say that that's in the works. So don't think I've forgotten about it. And also thinking about more, just sit next to my TV. Marin, I thought about that. I'm like, can I just have them like watch the TV behind me? We'll like turn the whole thing around because the TV's right there. Turn the whole thing around and we'll just show the TV behind me. But I was like, they're not gonna be able to see the details. So yeah, we'll figure it out. I mean, if anything, we can definitely do this with just a live chat. So I can be chatting with you guys. But I don't know. I kind of felt like it would be more fun to do like a live reaction kind of thing, like we talked about the other day. And so where I could kind of like pause it and talk a little bit, especially if it's something like we watch an old movie together, I can pause and talk about the fashion or anything related to sewing it or ideas for making yourself, things like that. We could just make it very, very topical. So I think that would be really fun. But like not even worst case scenario, but if the webcam thing doesn't work out, then we just do a live chat. Angela Wolf has a great setup. She watches videos with people, and she's on video. All right. So how about watching an old movie? Yeah. That's exactly what we're talking about. So we're on it. We're going to figure it out. An I Love Lucy episode. Yes, I love that. And I Love Lucy is on Hulu, which would be great because isn't there like a free version of Hulu? So it would be something that we wouldn't all need to pay to subscribe to. Yeah, so lots of ideas. We will figure it out. Yeah, a Marilyn movie. My favorite movie of all time is Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. So I thought that would be really fun to watch together. But I also can't find anywhere that's included with a subscription. So we should watch Christine McConnell's Netflix episode. Maybe. That is a trippy show, that Netflix show. Yeah, we'll think about it. There's lots of ideas. Okay. Okay, everyone. So I wanted to update you on that. I also wanted to Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, it's going to be, I see you all voicing concerns and all that, and we'll figure it out. Yeah, Chrome has an extension that allows you to share Netflix. Yep, I've already gone down a lot of rabbit holes. It's just the specific thing I want where I could be on webcam, you guys could be on chat, and we're also watching the same thing together, which is also on the screen. Like, if you know something that specifically does that, then, all right. So I'm seeing a lot of misgivings about all of this. Yeah, I don't know. It might just get too complicated. I might just say screw it, we're not going to do this at all, because yeah, there's a lot of stuff like Hulu. You don't have Hulu in Australia, so I don't know. I don't know, guys. It was just an idea. Okay, so today's topic is, Henry, why don't you come be on camera? Do you want to come say hi? I just feel like Henry and Hattie like really see there's one little tail. Can you see just in the corner? I feel like you guys aren't pulling your weight in terms of the live streams. I feel like you're just kind of like doing your own thing, just kind of checked out, like not really engaging with your fans, when you really could be, you know, using this as an opportunity to connect. Henry, he's licking his foot. You love the little tail. That's the topic. Why Henry won't be on camera. Just the tail. So yeah, I mean, these two, they don't pay the mortgage, that nothing. Like really very, very little contribution around here from these two. Besides the cuteness. He's jingling. You hear him jingling. It's my baby. Why come be on camera? Everyone wants to see you. Okay. Today's topic is inspiration. I feel like we kind of got started on this a little bit today. Henry is an indoor cat, strictly indoor. He cannot handle the great outdoors. He's meant to be an indoor cat. Okay. So, inspiration. So we talked a little bit yesterday about, remember the dress I was wearing yesterday, which was that dirndl dress, and the butterick pattern. And I mentioned the fact that I had like taken a vintage dress apart, like an old stained, damaged vintage dress, which wasn't really wearable anymore. I had taken apart to get that pattern. And we talked about that a little bit. And I talked about how there are like different ways that I find inspiration and different ways that like vintage inspired patterns are created. And I thought it would be interesting to talk about that a little bit more, because I posted, when I was going back through Instagram posts or something last night, I found like the original, oh, I know what it was. So, I looked at the hashtag for that dress, which was B6322. Did I get it right? And I looked back through the hashtag and I found a post that I had made, and this was back in 2016. It must have been when the dress first came out. And I remember at the time, give you a little behind the scenes drama. There was a Repro brand that had done a dress that was pretty much that dress. And there were murmurings of, did I steal the design from that Repro brand? And so I kind of like brought my receipts to this conversation, in that I did a post showing how I actually had photos of the dress that I had dissected to make the pattern, which is very clearly a vintage dress. So it was just a funny thing, because like vintage is like, I mean, can we really steal that from, like, can Repro brands steal vintage designs from each other? It was just like a really kind of funny thing to think about. And anyway, I posted that on just sort of like as a reminder, because we had talked about it on the live yesterday. I posted, like I reposted that Instagram post to my stories. And someone commented on it, and you know, I'm not going to name any names here, and maybe she's here today because I told her we'd be talking about this. But she commented and said, hold on, I'm going to find it. She said, but we thought this was what you are actually doing, copying vintage designs, but modifying the sizing for modern girls. All your patterns are from vintage originals we all know. Shrug emoji. And I wrote back and said, they're not actually. Some are new designs with vintage inspiration, some are modifications, and some are very faithful recreations of vintage designs. It's a mix. And she wrote back and said, okay, shrug emoji. And also I had an interaction with someone on Instagram recently. I love when people bring their receipts. I had a conversation recently on Instagram where someone kept messaging me if I use the word inspiration, like I was inspired by this vintage dress. It like really bothered this person because they were like, is it really appropriate to call it inspiration when you've just recreated the design? And I was like, I think it's appropriate. I was inspired by it to recreate the pattern. So anyway, it was, am I bringing the drama? I'm not trying to be dramatic or what do the kids say? Call out my haters. I'm just, I'm trying to make it a discussion. All right. So it struck me that I've had two people bring that up to me recently. Like, why, you know, are you just copying? Is this inspiration? Is it recreation? What is it? So I thought it would be an interesting discussion because as I replied to that person today, like there are different ways that I go about making patterns, that we go about making patterns at Charm Patterns, and that I've done for Butterick and I've done for my books. So do you guys like this topic? I thought it might be fun to talk about, like, I thought of like 4 different categories of the ways that I design, if I'm allowed to say that. So people are bored and rude. I'm not trying to cause drama, guys. I'm just a nice girl. So let's talk about the first category. Yes, let's discuss this. Okay. The first category would be a very faithful vintage recreation. Okay. And I don't have dresses for all of these, guys. I'm just, because everything's a mess. But I can give you examples of each. So the first category, like I said, would be a literal reproduction from a garment, from a vintage garment. And the Liz dress and the dress I showed you yesterday are really great examples of that. So the Liz dress, and I always show my inspiration. I'm not like, this isn't something that I try to hide. So this was the inspiration for the Liz dress, and it's a dress by Kahala. So this is a Hawaiian souvenir dress, and you can see it has this band. It has the cups with the pleated upper cup, the Princess C midriff, and a gathered circular skirt. Yeah, looking familiar? This was the inspiration for the Liz dress, which is what I'm wearing. So we made a pattern for this, and you can see it has that strap. It goes down to the V in the back, and it has cups which have a pleated upper cup, has a gathered skirt. And I'm such a little copycat that I even took this sash, this tie, waist tie, with the little, sorry, I'm just going to the wrong camera, with these little embroidery floss threads. I was like, that is gorgeous. I'm going to do the same thing on mine. Embroidery floss threads. And I show you guys how to make all of this in the instruction booklet. So this would be a really good example of a literal reinterpretation, right? And that's not to say that it is exactly like the original, because I've talked a little bit before about how I had to change some things. And that's another thing that you find when you're trying to do a literal interpretation is that you have to change a lot of things for various reasons. Like I changed the centered zipper to a lap zipper. But the biggest thing were these darn cups. I'm gonna watch my language. So in the original, you can see the lower cup has like a dart. I guess you can't see. This is so busy. You guys have to come over someday when the virus is contained. Can you guys all come over and look at these darts, please? So there's a dart on the lower cup and then the pleated upper cup. All right. So a lot of the decisions that I make have to do with the fact that we are translating this design into now 50 sizes. Okay, so the dress sizes, but also the cup sizes. So between our sizes, dress sizes 2 through 20 US, we also have A through H cup sizes. So when you combine all the dress sizes with the cup sizes, you have 50 sizes. So while something may work in one part of that range, it may not necessarily work in other parts of the range. So that dart I just knew was going to be a problem. It's like that tall and that wide. And my arm hurts for some reason. Am I gesturing too wildly or something? Once you get up to like an H cup in that squat little dart, oh gosh, we got a spammer. Quirt Gaming, get out of here. I don't know how to block you, but get out of here. So once you get into the H cup, that dart was going to be kind of unmanageable and it would get really pointy. Okay. So is the circle wave? I think that might be it. Okay, guys. Thank you, Quirt Gaming. See you later. Actually, no, you can just leave. Bye-bye. Gertie clapping back to all the haters today. All right. So, right click, then hit block. Okay. All right. Thanks, Michael, for reporting them. All right. So what was I saying? Guys, it's so hard to keep a train of thought sometimes. Oh, okay. All right. That dart in the lower cup. So I had to change it to a 3-piece cup where that is a seam here, right? So now it's like a bra cup. You know, if you think about a standard, like a classic bra, you have 1 piece up here and then 2 lower pieces right here. Yeah, I'm just going to demonstrate on my boob. So you have a 3-piece cup. So you have a 3-piece cup. So I converted to a 3-piece cup, and then we had to do the work of getting that cup to fit in 50 different sizes. So, I mean, another thing that I really want to say is that literal interpretation may sound like the easiest of the things I'm going to describe, like the ways to design I'm going to describe, but it actually can be the hardest because, and actually the Liz dress, I would say, and Melisha will probably corroborate this, is that the Liz dress is probably the most challenging pattern for us to develop, that we've developed so far. So I can't read, you guys make me laugh so much. I can't read your comments too much if I'm trying to talk. Melisha agrees. Yes. So the Liz dress was very challenging. So that I just want to get that across, that just, it's not like you just copied something. Okay. Like that is not what it is, because sometimes making things work that were originally meant to be only in the very small vintage size range, trying to get them to work in our entire size range for a lot of different sizes, that can be the hardest work of all. All right. So I just want to put that out there. Okay. So that is the first category. I feel like I'm giving a little lecture today. I brought my book. That is the first category. Does that make sense? All right. So the second category of things is related to the first. And that would be, instead of a literal reproduction from a garment, it would be a reproduction from a photo, from a vintage illustration, from a movie, from something I've seen. And then looking at that original inspiration, sketching it, and then making it into a pattern without the garment to reference. Okay, so that means you're making a lot more decisions on your own, because a lot of times you can't see certain angles of the garment. You might only have a picture of the front. So you're making decisions about you're deciding what the back looks like. Oftentimes you're deciding what the construction is, right? So if it's a garment that I've never seen, like the Peter Pan bolero is a good recent example that comes to mind. I saw a little bolero worn by a vintage blogger. So her wardrobe is like completely vintage. She doesn't sew. And she has an amazing collection. So I thought Mid-Century Girl is her name, if you guys are curious who I'm talking about. She's amazing. So she had a little knit bolero that she wore, and I was like, yes, that is great for Patreon. So we didn't see the back. We just saw the front. And so just the collar detail and the shape in the front. So that was kind of like deciding, okay, well, what does the back look like? Does the back have darts? Does it have any other features? Would this garment be lined? Would it be like just, making all those decisions? Would it have a buttonhole at the top? Would it, for a closure, what would the closure be? All of those are decisions that are design decisions, right? So designing isn't just sitting down and coming up with a new idea that comes out of nowhere, right? That's the other thing I want to talk about today is like, what is design? Just a little quick conversation about the nature of design. Okay, so that would be category number 2. So, and then category number 3 would be like a mashup of elements that come from various sources. And I feel like the night and day dress is a really good example of this. As you know, I like to do, and I do have a garment for this one. I like to do garments with a lot of different interchangeable elements, and the night and day dress is one of them. This collar is a great example of something that I'd seen somewhere else and decided to put on this dress. And same with the skirt. I didn't see a dress that looked exactly like this in a picture, but I'd seen this collar before. I'd seen, obviously chevron striped skirts like this before, square neck bodices, like none of this is new, but I'd seen it all in various places and decided that this new project was the place to combine it. Right. So, and oftentimes we'll be looking for like pocket inspiration. That's something we got to do right now. Actually, Militia is like looking for a new style of pocket that we want to add to a dress that we're doing later. So things like that. So again, vintage inspiration that we look for visuals, we possibly look for vintage dresses, and then sort of bring those elements together into a new mashup of elements. So that's the third category. And then the fourth category would be a new design. So I say new in quotes like that because, like, what is new? Like, what is new in this crazy world? Is there anything new under the sun? Probably not. And especially when you're dealing with vintage inspired things, all of this has been done before. I would be really surprised if I designed something, even if I intended to, like if I tried to sit down and design something that had never been done before, but I felt was vintage inspired. Could I do it? I don't know. Who knows? I would probably do it and then be like, well, here's all the various, sources that we can show you where you probably saw this before, and that's why it's in your brain, right? So, but I will say that like the 2 new patterns that we have coming up, Militia and I were talking about this too when I was writing the introduction for one of them. I was like, I feel like this is one of the designs that really just like, I can say it mostly came from in my head. Like I had an idea for the type of garment that I wanted to do. And I knew what elements were important to me, and I knew how I wanted it to look with other garments. But I'm distracted now because I don't like my mise-en-scene here. Pattern leak. I can't. Alicia will get mad at me if I tell you what the pattern is. So I feel, though I can point to some of the elements, and I have talked about what this pattern is before, and it has 81 different combinations. So I feel like some of those elements have certainly been done before, and we can point to where they came from. But sort of the basis for what this pattern was going to be, I came to it through sketching, not through looking at my Pinterest board or looking at a photograph or anything like that, or looking at a garment. So you can tell us the name of the pattern. I kind of want that to be a surprise because I love the name of this pattern. I really like it. So yeah, I'm gonna wait on that. Why does my arm hurt so much, you guys? I think I have carpal tunnel. All right, so those would be sort of the 4 categories of things and the way that they are designed. And then I would say, like, in terms of like what I think design is, it's not just that process of sitting down and sketching something. And this is also interesting too, thinking about, I just finished Next in Fashion last night, which I've been talking about a lot. And they really had the challenge, like those contestants, to design something that hadn't been seen before. Be stronger. I'm trying, Melisha. You know, it's so hard for me. I love to give secrets away. Melisha is better at being tight-lipped than I am. So on Next in Fashion, their assignment was to come up with something totally new, and they were sitting down and they were sketching. So I think we think of that as design. Like, is that the only way to design something? And I think that's what, going back to the original conversation about those sort of snarky Instagram comments, is like, that's the only way that some people see design happening. That's, in their minds, that's the only definition of design, is to sit down, pull something out of your brain and sketch it on paper. But there are many other ways to design things in this world. And one of them is having an idea, a new idea that's creative. So that would be the sketching. Another way is planning the construction or the engineering of something is also part of designing, right? So figuring out that a dart won't work in a 2-piece cup on a size 16H in a shelf bust dress. Like, that's design. It's not just, I don't know what people think that is, but but that is design. You have to have a design eye to be able to do that. So that's part of design, like figuring out construction and being able to, I think someone said reverse engineer earlier, be able to look at a photo and reverse engineer something to where you can imagine it as flat pattern pieces and tell people how to make it themselves is part of design. Someone just said, sorry, but Next in Fashion is just a copy of Project Runway. I don't know if that's just a joke based on our copying discussion or not, but okay. Let's see. Oh, and then design is also making decisions. So thinking about things, I know I keep coming back to that squat little dart, but thinking about things like, should this dress have a dart or a seam there? What would be most pleasing? What would be best in terms of the construction? What would be easiest to explain to people how to make it? And then things like, let's go back to the Rita blouse. I used an invisible zipper there, which was quite controversial because it's not a 50s style zipper, really. So things like, should I use an invisible zipper here or should I use a lap zipper? That's design, is making those decisions. what fabric should I use here? Like, should I use a contrast or should I use the same fabric that is designed? Oh, another good example of all of this is the princess coat, because obviously the name and everything is a nod to Lily Ann princess coats. But I did look at an original Lily Ann princess coat and decided not to use it actually as inspiration or as to recreate from, because maybe I have this coat here. I don't know. It might be at the studio. Because if you look at a Lily Ann princess coat lantern sleeve, if you really look at it closely, it has a spiral seam on it that goes around the arm like that, and then like 3 small darts right here. It is very, very complicated. I can't really make sense of why it's so complicated. And so part of like what I see my role as a designer in that instance would be to recreate the shape, but coming at a simpler way to do it that I think you guys would respond to better. So I did a lantern sleeve with a similar shape, but I just did one with a seam around the bottom here, and it gives you that same beautiful lantern shape. So yeah, I don't know. And fit is another big thing. Like, working on the fit of something is part of the design as well when it comes to clothing. So making sure that something looks as good in a size 2A cup as it does in a size 20H. And, thank you, Melisha, testing all those cups many, many times and finding fit models and all that, and making decisions, being able to make decisions based on what you see in those fit tests, that is design too. So that's my little talk about design and inspiration and copying and all of that. I hope that was interesting to you. I feel like it's something that I've been thinking about a lot, and it's something that continually comes up sort of in the vintage world, especially where a lot of people do, reproductions of vintage clothing. Like, what are I don't know, what are the sort of parameters for that, and what are the ethics behind it? Are people copying, or are they not? Thank you guys. I'm glad you found it interesting. Do I do all the pattern grading myself? No, I don't do any of the pattern grading myself. That is something that you want to hire someone who is trained in and knows how to use grading software. So we have an excellent pattern grader. And again, that's another thing that grading, I feel like one of the things that I've learned a little bit more to do over the years is to look at the grading and be able to say, can we grade this differently? Which I don't think even a few years ago I would have been able to. I understood grading enough to understand, to know to ask that question. So things like, can we, you can do something that's like an uneven grade. So, for instance, a sleeve the grade might be bigger. So the grade means how much it grows from the size 2 to the size 20, and the increments between those sizes. So can the increment be smaller at the top of this piece and larger at the bottom? Things like that. So you can change the grade rule. But yeah, being able to ask questions like that is all, just part of learning this whole field. Is the live stream on the weekends as well? So we will be doing a live stream. I have been doing one every day. Tomorrow we are going to be on Patreon. I'm going to be on Patreon. I have a weird sunlight spot right here today too, guys. Is it bothering you, or is it just bothering me? So the live stream tomorrow will be on Patreon. It's for tiers $7 and up, and it's the makeup tutorial. So come watch me figure out how to describe how to do makeup. That'll be fun. Should we play with my light? Oh, Coke Zero. It's empty. Should we try different lights? Oh, that's nice. This light patch right here is bothering me. It'll go away soon. Let's see. Oh, Deirdre got the Ivy printer that I recommended. You like it? I hope you liked it. Jenny's gonna be asleep. Sorry, Jenny. Yeah, so tomorrow's live is at 2 p.m. on Patreon. And then the next day, I'm thinking we will just reconvene at 5 p.m. on Sunday. All right. Let's see. I feel like I missed a lot of your comments here because I've been talking and talking. Ashley said the difference between art and design is solving a problem creatively versus creation for creation's sake. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I have to think about that one. I definitely feel like very strongly that like creative problem solving is a huge part of charm patterns and what we do. But I don't know. I also feel like it's art a little bit. And I hate saying that because it sounds a little like pretentious maybe to be a pattern designer and call yourself an artist. But I feel like just dressmaking is art because it's like creating for creation's sake sometimes, not necessarily for need necessarily. I certainly don't need any more dresses at this point, but something keeps driving me to make more. So I don't know. It's very interesting. Why is that light there today? I mean, why haven't we seen it there before? Is the light different? Because it's the same time of day. I see some questions about 40s garments. I've done some 40s inspired stuff in my books, like especially vintage casual. There's like a bomber jacket. There's wide leg trousers. And then I did a very 40s dress for Butterick. That sort of like slim A-line one. And then also the Ultimate Dress Book, I feel like you can use to make 40s styles because it does have an A-line skirt in it as well, not just pencil skirts and super big full skirts. But I've had some like 40s gowns, and Melisha likes this stuff too. Melisha loves gowns, by the way. So like long sort of like silk jersey slinky gowns. The swirl dress is sort of 40s. Yeah, I feel like I dabble in 40s. But one thing that I know Melisha and I both want to do at some point in some way is like a slinky 40s gown sort of thing with like draping on the skirt, that sort of thing. The light blends in with the white on my dress. All right, lots of interesting questions here. Okay, and conversations. Michelle is asking about upsizing on the Liz or Night and Day dress. I love them, but I need a larger size. The new L'Amour sizing is perfect. So Liz is in the same sizing as the L'Amour dress. So Liz will work for you now. Night and Day, we've been working on that. So we will keep you updated on when we have expanded sizes on that as well. L'Amour sarong could go late 40s, totally. Especially, I was thinking about making a floor length version of the L'Amour sarong dress. I think would be so pretty and very 40s, especially with the gathered shoulder straps. Guys, I can't stand it. Let's see here. Sorry. I can't take the oh, Henry's right here. Yeah. So let's see. Oh, good, Michelle. What is the decoration in my hair? It's a set of 3 gardenias. This is by a company, can you see? By a company called Shazam. They make a lot of these sort of like bendy, longer hair flowers. So yeah, these are gardenias by Shazam. Someone's asking about 20s era. I don't really gravitate towards 20s. I think it's the silhouette doesn't really appeal to me as much. Henry, come here. He's up. Come here. Your fans want to see you. You're just a little baby. He's going to tolerate this for about 2 seconds. You want to say hi to Auntie Melisha? Opulence. Opulence! It's Henry. Guys, it's Drag Race Friday. Is everyone watching Drag Race tonight? He's tolerating this quite a bit. Hey, everyone's watching you. What do you think of that? He is very cuddly. Have you guys seen his belly? Henry, please, just show them. It is like very, very fuzzy. Okay, you can go now. You've done your part. He's like, I'm leaving the couch. I can't believe you. So the other thing that I've been watching kind of live right now is Schitt's Creek, which I'm super obsessed with and like so sad that it's ending. Belly. Speaking of kissing your cat, the lipsticks you're wearing doesn't smear, rub off easily. This one doesn't really. This is Dose of Colors, Kiss of Fire. I wear it like every day lately. So it doesn't really transfer just like through dry contact. I don't know how else to say that. If you get food or, give someone a sloppy kiss, then it's gonna come off. But just like a little peck or something like that doesn't transfer. Let's see. Hi, I am new. How do I learn more about Patreon? I am a member. So if you're already signed up for our Patreon, one thing I've been noticing lately too is that it seems like people who are already on the Patreon are having trouble navigating the Patreon or finding posts. So you need to go to Patreon, okay? To go to the website or use the app and then go to my post history. The first post at the top will be a post telling you how to navigate the content there. So that should be really helpful. There's also a search bar at the top there of the post, so you can search for what you're looking for. I mean, at this point, we have 2 months of content, so there's not like years to look through at this point. So you really could just scroll back through the posts. But yeah. So let me know if you have any more questions about that, or if there's something that you can't find, you can always like message me on Patreon. So guys, I'm very excited because we're counting down the days now to April 1st, which is our next Patreon and YouTube release. So that's exciting. And I got a lot done today with the next 2 patterns. And oh my gosh, you guys are just talking about what you're watching. This is very cute. I like this. So yeah, the app and the website are very different for Patreon. Yeah, they kind of have to be navigated a little bit differently, but I feel like that's pretty common between, websites and apps being a little bit different from each other. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny. I have no idea what show you're talking about. What was I talking about? I got a lot done on the new patterns. I crossed a lot off my to-do list in my bullet journal. I had a whole page devoted to our topic for today, creativity and design and inspiration. I did things like, I think this is one of the things you don't realize when you like start a pattern business or any kind of business, that you have to like learn how to procure barcodes. Like, how do you get those? And you have to like learn, you have to like pay this website and like become a member of the global data hub so that you can go, what's the right word I'm looking for? Make your own barcodes and then download them. So things like that. I did it today. I always hate stuff like that, but I got the barcodes for the next 2 patterns. Yeah, I did a pretty good job with everything today. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like we will be doing the pre-order for the next 2 patterns next week. So that's exciting. And Melisha, I am so sad that we're not going to be together when we do this, because it'll be the first time that we haven't been like, it's always kind of like a big thing in the studio when we like press publish on the pre-order. So that's sad that we won't be together. Maybe we can do it live. That's an idea. Should we do it live? That would be fun. I'm gonna write that down. But then you wouldn't really be able to look at it. I don't know. Something to think about. Yeah, so that's coming up, which is great. You're sad too, I know. So we've been talking about Patreon. If you're in the upper 2 tiers of Patreon, just so you know, if you're in the $17 tier, you will be receiving the PDFs of those when they release. So all future PDFs you get. So you'll just automatically get those in the $17 tier. And then $14 tier, you will be getting a discount code for 30% off the patterns during the pre-order period only. Okay, so if you've been thinking about upgrading your tiers, now is a good time. So let's see. So we're not doing any special promos outside of Patreon. So things are a little bit weird right now, and we want to really make the Patreon deals the special deals this time around. So if you want special deals, the place to get them is on Patreon. But no paper dolls or pins or anything this time. So we're just kind of trying different things with the pre-orders. So we will see. So let's see. I saw a question. Is the Patreon Coat Edition and the Bolero going to be disappearing anytime soon? I've yet to download the PDFs, and now I can't get a USB drive to save them. So no, don't worry about any of that stuff disappearing. The way Patreon works is that all content is on there all the time for the most part. Okay, so and I've seen people tell me like not to be upfront about this, but I don't see any reason why not to be. So anytime you sign up, like if you sign up this month, you can get all the content that's already on there. All right. So, but then you will keep paying me. Hopefully, if you stay subscribed, you will keep paying for next month's content and the content after that. So the cool thing about Patreon, it's not just like a store where you like go and buy things. It's like a monthly sort of payment that supports a content creator. And I know some people say think of it more like a tip jar rather than you're buying something. Anyway, I'm getting totally ahead of myself here. But all of the regular content doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so it's always on Patreon anytime you sign up. All right. So that that is, sorry, I just lost my train of thought again. You know, it happens a lot. So that's the thing about Patreon. I feel like it's really generous in a lot of ways. Like you can sign up, come get all the content, and hopefully you don't leave right away. But you know, you'll always be able to get that stuff. So someone asked about the Starburst dress. So one thing you can, so the downside to Patreon, I'm just going to keep being transparent. So someone said they like my transparency. Let's keep going with that theme. So the downside to Patreon is that people can come, you know, sign up for a month, get all your content, and leave. And you just kind of have to accept that as like part of what Patreon is. So to kind of reward people who sign up at a certain time or stay members or whatever it is, you can do these limited time offers. All right. So that's what the Starburst dress was. So for people who were upset about the Starburst dress going away, that was just one of these limited time offers that we did to reward people who signed up in the first month, because otherwise there's this possibility of people like, well, I'll just wait till 3 months until there's more content on there, pay $7 once and then leave. You know what I mean? Like, you want to reward people for being the first in or to join you at a certain time. And I know that it's a little risky, because if you missed that announcement or you weren't following me at that time, it means you can never get that pattern again. So I'm sorry about that. But the good news is we're going to keep doing that. And actually, we already have an idea, and it's in process now for our next one. And I think that's the way we're going to do it, is to do it as a bonus offer again. So that means it's additional content in addition to your usual Patreon content. You would be getting this bonus thing if you're signed up at a certain time. So I know it can seem annoying to have things that disappear like that, but it's really just to, I think it kind of helps protect the creators a little bit. I don't know, like, in a way, because, and it helps sort of like, ensure that people stick around a little bit more than they might, because there are rewards for sticking around. I mean, it's also a reward for you. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I'm explaining it well. It's like limited edition collectibles, kind of. I could add them to my shop now as paid PDF downloads. So that was one of the things that, like, we talked about originally too, you know, because I really had a hard time wrapping my mind around the concept that we would offer something that then would then go away forever. And the thing is, if we did that, it would then be, what's the word I'm looking for? It would mean that the whole limited time offer was for nothing. You know what I mean? So the people who did come in and sign up and did it because it was a limited time thing, then a month later it's on my site, they're like, well, I did that because it was limited time and I wanted to support you and get that reward. And now you're just making it available as a one-off thing for other people. So that's why it's like, really I mean, believe me, my brain tried to go in circles trying to figure out ways that this would not just be a one-time thing that people could never get again, but to make it special for the people who support us. That's kind of what it needs to be. So Patreon is fun, just get on board. Yeah, so it is fun. It just makes it competitive. Yeah, I don't know. It's thank you guys. Yeah, I do feel like the Patreon is pretty generous in what we give you. And the reason it can be that way is because all of you come together to subscribe. So like, a lot of the stuff we're offering right now at $7 a month, like, I feel like if we sold it on the Charm site, it would be more than $7. But because there are enough of you coming together and like crowdsourcing it, we can give it to you for less. So I know that people kind of balk sometimes at subscriptions and stuff like that, but I feel like the sort of like coming together of it is what makes it really work and what makes it more economical for you. So, and also it means that you get more content, because releasing stuff that way is a little easier for us than doing the printed patterns like we do with Charm patterns. So it's just a new way for us to release more stuff to you and release it less expensively than we would on the Charm site. So I feel like it's really working. No need to justify. Thank you. Thanks, guys. It is fun. The Patreon is really fun. So I know subscriptions are like an extra cost right now that people might not be able to justify more and more. But I really am grateful to all of you who do it, because like I've said several times, it's going to make a huge difference to how Charm Patterns is able to ride out the situation we have going on right now. So thank you all. All right, everyone. I really appreciate it. Are the patterns also copy shop size? Yes, they are. So the patterns come for Patreon, they come tiled, so you can print them at home. And then there's another file that is AO size. So that's 36-inch wide. It's, it's compatible for 36-inch wide printers or AO sheets. And the tiled file is for letter or A4. All right, everyone. You guys are great. Supporting independent women. Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a cool thing. I'm so glad that we did it. And I'm so glad we did it when we did it. And yeah, it's just been great for us. So thank you. And it doesn't change, the way people who had concerns about it, like the way that I have described it too, is that it doesn't take anything away from people who can't subscribe. It actually means you'll be getting more content in the long haul, even if you cannot afford to subscribe, because we're using the Patreon funds to support the new YouTube show, Gertie's World, as well. So whereas before we weren't able to make those like long form, like the Liz dress and the princess coat, all of those tutorials that are professionally produced, that is happening because of the Patreon, but they're free. So you know what I mean? So even if you can't buy into the Patreon, you're still getting more content than you were getting before. So it's like there is literally no downside to this for any of us, as far as I can see. I think there are always going to be people who don't like subscription services and all of that. But as far as I can tell, there is no downside. It's a win-win. All right. Thank you, everyone. You guys are great. All right. So thank you all for joining. We've gone on quite a while now. It's now a little past 6. I have to go to the studio tonight. We're kind of doing a handoff now of things for Melisha to do the shipping from home, and I'm going to be grabbing stuff from the studio. And I'm going to try not to get sad, because I feel like, the last time I went to the studio, it just felt really sad, because we're not supposed to be in that building now, but we are allowed to pick things up. And it really does feel like I'm moving my business back home. And I felt like I was closing down the studio permanently when I went there last time, and I cried, and I told Melisha. And I have to I'm trying to really remind myself that that's not what's happening here. This is all temporary. And it's all going to be okay. We'll be back working in the studio again very soon. Very soon, I'm sure. So I'm going to go over there, and then, yeah, it's the weekend. So I hope you guys are doing okay. And I hope you're getting a lot of sewing done, whether you're quarantined or locked down. Or don't cry. Don't be sad, Gertie. I know, it's so sad. It's like, you know how I feel about that studio. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. We're not closing the studio. It's not permanent. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for bolstering me. It's going to be fine. All right, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. So, yeah, so tomorrow, again, just to remind you, if you haven't heard me say it a million times, tomorrow is the Patreon makeup tutorial at 2 p.m. So, if you're on Patreon, you'll be getting a link to that, like a little bit earlier in the day. So, I hope that you'll join me. Do my eyeshadow. We're going to do a little simple eyeshadow. I'm very excited. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mood. I mean, Gertie. All right. Thanks, guys. You're all the best. Thank you. We'll see you later. Henry says goodbye, too. He's being very cute. All right. See you tomorrow. Mwah. Oh, I can't do the, oh my God. I can't do my wave. I'll do it. Should I try left-handed? Am I ambidextrous? Goodbye. It wasn't my best, but it'll do. Okay. Bye, everyone.